Good morning and welcome everybody to the Crypto Mining Show, your one-stop shop for all cryptocurrency news from the perspective of a cryptocurrency miner. Today, we are going to be talking about the new G-Miner release, as well as a couple scams I've been running into personally that I'm a little frustrated with from basically the content creator perspective, and some things you guys can look out for there. We're also going to be talking about crypto miner Hut 8 teaming up with a gaming platform. We're going to be talking about GameStop's NFT program and some issues it's been having in the markets. And then we're going to be talking about leaks for the RTX 40 series Ada Lovelace. We have more details on that as well. Of course, we will always cover the cryptocurrency mining profitability from the perspective of my farm as well at the end, along with taking a look at what to mine for the day, mining pool stats, and ASIC miners as well. But before we get into it, a word from today's partner. Today's video is brought to you in partnership with GamerSupps. GamerSupps provides a healthy alternative to sugary energy drinks with delicious flavors like Misfits Melon or my favorite Blue Raz. I use the GamerSupps as an alternative to support my active lifestyle outside of content creation. Caffeine-free options are great for late-night gaming after the kids have gone to bed. And my favorite part about GamerSupps is that they accept cryptocurrency, and for a limited time, when you purchase a tub with cryptocurrency, you will receive a Bitcoin shaker. Follow the affiliate link in the description, and don't forget to use code SOAT at checkout. I am sipping on some today. This is the avocado one again. I do like the lemonade as well. And it's almost gone. So check it out down there. No sugar. My biggest problem is the food dyes, as my wife says. They shouldn't be using the food dyes, but I kind of get it. They want that gamer look. It is what it is. Let's get into the first one for the day. G-Miner release 35 minutes ago, version 2.83. They added WSS protocol support for TON mining. Now Miner supports all major mining pools, tonpool.com, TON Whales, and icemining.ca. They also fixed a miner crash on TON with the TON connection loss in dual mining. Here's all of the usage examples that they have listed there. As I've noted before with TON, my assumption was, and it appears to be correct, it has to do with this WSS protocol for most of these miners being able to utilize other pools, specifically tonpool.com and TON Whales Pool seem to use just that protocol. And that means that if you see a miner supporting TON coin and they only support a couple pools, more than likely they haven't figured out the connections. It's no partnership with the pools, etc. Case in point was Team Red Miner, for example. Now, let's talk about something that I've been running into here recently, and we'll get it out of the way. So I guess about a year ago, I had worked with my wife to essentially have her reply to some sponsorship emails, start helping me find sponsorships, that sort of thing. It's actually pretty difficult to vet sponsors, get all the details worked out, write up the contracts, all that sort of thing. A lot of times, if it's a foreign sponsor or a sponsor that's not stateside, they will avoid contracts. They will mess around with a lot of like the wording and so on when they're emailing you. They can get confusing. And one of the ones that my wife kind of fell for was one of those CDK sponsorship deals. Now, we have had CDK deals on the channel before, and basically to vet these types of websites before I sign up with them, if I get an email for them, I won't even talk to them until I go utilize the website, make sure that it's functioning properly, and then I'll email them and be like, okay, what can we work out? In the case of CDK deals, I was able to purchase, everything functioned great, and we were off to the races. There was another one that came along the pipeline that my wife handled that was UCD deals or something like that. So there's a lot of these. They're basically key resellers. There's some ethical quandaries surrounding them as it sits. My main goal is to make sure that they actually ship the product when you order it, or it shows up in your account and it's easy to use. So what happened is that she went ahead and worked a deal with them for a set of 4 ads. Now, when she sent it over to me, I went ahead and went through my normal process of going to the website, making sure it works. Well, the website wasn't working. And so I emailed them and I said, hey, the website's not working. You know, I'm not going to do an ad for a website that's not functioning properly. This is broken. This is broken. Your SSL cert on the payment's not working. This is too sketchy. We're not going to touch it. And the problem was, which was actually kind of interesting, is that during that time, my wife had sent them my PayPal. And so they paid for ad spots on PayPal. So essentially from there, I needed to refund the PayPal money, essentially, for the ad spots. By the way, it's totally not worth it if you're a content creator to even get into this, because essentially it's not worth the money and the hassle. But I told them we're not going to do it. We're going to move on. We're done. I'll refund the money. Well, here's the problem. It ended up being that I couldn't hit the refund button because what they wanted me to do was essentially refund a separate account because they lost the login to one of their PayPal accounts. I don't know if you guys are aware with how PayPal works, but here's a common scam that happens. Somebody sends you money and then they ask for a refund. When they ask for a refund, they ask you to refund a different account. So you send out a different transaction to another account, and then they initiate the refund on the original account. Now, this has been going on for months and months and months at this point, and it's been very frustrating. So, as opposed to essentially going through and making these ads or whatever, I am and basically promoting this site, I would say that I just want you guys to be aware of what's happening and avoid UCD keys at all costs, because there's definitely something broken with their payment system as it goes, and what they're doing to content creators is essentially scamming them to get double payment out of them. So they'll send you, let's say you worked out a deal for $175 for your pre-roll. They send you $175 to your PayPal account. Then they ask you to refund that $175 to a separate PayPal account. Then they ping you with the refund, and they just made $175 off of preying on content creators. That's how these scams function. We're going to be covering more scams, even crypto-related ones, in emails that I've been receiving, probably about once a day on the morning show, because there are a lot of them, and I'm kind of just fed up with it at this point, okay? This is the one that's been going on the longest. This affects the entire tech community, not just cryptocurrency, and is one that you guys should be aware of. Let's go ahead and next hop into more fun stuff. We're going to be talking about CoinDesk, and crypto miner Hut 8 teams up with Enthusiast Gaming for multi-year partnership. The deal will enable Hut 8 to reach Enthusiast Gaming's 300 million strong audience and provide data center hosting. Canadian crypto miner Hut 8 signed a multi-year strategic partnership with gaming entertainment company Enthusiastic Gaming to collaborate on a new experience in content and data center hosting. Quote, as ambitious leaders at the intersection of gaming and digital asset mining, Enthusiast Gaming and Hut 8 will collaborate on new experiences and content within mobile and blockchain gaming, Web 3.0, NFTs, and cryptocurrency, end quote, according to a statement. Hut 8 will also provide critical infrastructure support by hosting Enthusiast Gaming in its data centers. The new partnership will allow Hut 8's content to be integrated across Enthusiast Gaming's flywheel of communities, games, and experience. Quote, in the near term, we anticipate the benefits to Hut 8 will include connecting with an expanded crypto-savvy audience and potential new customers, while generating incremental revenue by hosting enthusiast gaming on our infrastructure, end quote, Hut 8's CEO Jamie Leverton told CoinDesk in an email. The gaming sector is rapidly changing as the number of video gamers globally is quickly approaching 3 billion, with a projected 5 to 7% compound annual growth rate over the next few years, according to research by Masari. The gaming sector generated $175 billion in revenue last year and is expected to reach $269 billion by 2025, the report said. Moreover, blockchain gaming has seen a rapid user adoption. While investors continue to pour money into the sector. In January alone, $1 billion was invested in blockchain games on top of $4 billion already raised in 2021, according to the data tracker DApp Radar. Quote, we're excited to host enthusiast gaming in our data centers and collaborate on new experiences and content that will connect us to their audience of 300 million Gen Z and millennial viewers, the majority of whom are crypto savvy, end quote, said Jamie Leverton, CEO of Hut 8. To kick off the deal, Hut 8 will be featured as a presenting sponsor for a significant upcoming update to its first-person shooter game, EV.io. The miner will also become a sponsor of enthusiast Luminosity Gaming, the top esports organization on Twitch, with a social following of more than 145 million globally. The deal comes as some miners are diversifying into non-mining business ventures such as blockchain gaming, NFTs, and Web3 projects. Most recently, another crypto miner, Ergo Blockchain, launched an internally funded in-house non-mining business unit to diversify its business and take advantage of other opportunities in the blockchain ecosystem. What does this mean for you guys, right? That home miner. What's going on here? What can we take from this? Well, obviously you want to start diversifying out of just mining with GPUs if you think there is potential for that profitability to take a big hit due to something like the merge for Ethereum, where Ethereum will no longer be mineable and these GPU mining companies would have to move to a smaller cap coin. And as we've seen, when I asked basically on Luxor why they stood up the Ethereum pool and how they were going to go about, lobbying for extending Ethereum, it didn't seem like they really had a plan. I know Hut 8 is part of that consortium of cryptocurrency miners that's trying to come up with basically some sort of appeal to the Ethereum Foundation to extend proof of work for some unknown time. But even in that interview, it sounded like they really had no plan set up. So what are these large GPU mining companies doing? Well, they're going to be diversifying into other things to protect their investment, as they've been standing up a lot of cryptocurrency mining, specifically GPU mining, really close to the end of Ethereum as a proof of work coin. On this channel, we've talked about our other options. I think from the perspective of a home miner, it makes a lot of sense to mine smaller cap coins post. I think there'll be a lot of opportunity within the crypto space for mining with GPUs, but I also understand what they're doing here. It's just a hedge bet. They're trying to diversify. You can also, though, from a mining company's perspective, diversify into mining Bitcoin. I think that's a valid option. That's what I'm doing personally, because if I can move into some ASIC Bitcoin mining, that's a more, or just an easier way to go ahead and diversify while still remaining within the cryptocurrency space. It's very interesting to see them actually sponsoring one of the large esports teams. Which one was it? Because I've heard that one before. Luminosity Gaming, primarily because, as we've seen, even this week, we've already seen attacks on mining from the gaming perspective on both videocards.com as well as Tom's Hardware. So seeing essentially a video game company like an esports team being sponsored by the very thing that the whole gaming industry is adamantly against should be interesting to see how that's accepted by the viewers on Twitch, by the audience in general of these types of games, and we'll have to see where it goes. Now, EV.io is not something that I've actually looked into. I did go ahead and click this link to go see what's happening, and it just says pinging servers. It looks like maybe you just play in the browser. It's a browser-based game. We'll check it out later. It's going to be too much for me to keep doing while I stream, so I'm not going to click to play at this point. It doesn't, I don't know. We'll see what happens. If you guys would like a review of this, let me know and we'll check it out. So, very interesting. I think super significant from the perspective of a trending like market tell for GPU mining in the vein of basically, I think it's a preparation for that proof of stake move for Ethereum, and they're just trying to diversify. That's how I see it. We'll have to see where it goes from there. We do have more gaming and cryptocurrency integration. Now, outside of the mining, it's kind of inevitable, there we go, that we start seeing integration between gaming and mining. Now, as you guys know, I'm not a huge fan of NFTs within video games. I've made this pretty clear. I probably have that boomer attitude surrounding it. I don't like microtransactions. Majority of the gaming community my age doesn't like microtransactions either. I try to avoid them at all costs. My games that I enjoy, that I like to play, are games where I get to earn everything in game, right? And basically, if you have microtransactions, it usually pushes away from that earning it in game. For example, if I play Halo Infinite right now, I just still have the vanilla free costume on my Halo Infinite character because you're not going to catch me dead going ahead and paying for anything to advance the battle pass or whatever else. And I'm still at the top of the leaderboard, so it doesn't really matter that much. That being said, today what we're looking at is WCCF Tech article, Going Beyond GameStop's NFT Platform. Loop Ring's LRC bullish thesis revolves around an intricate balance between low transaction cost and overall security. This ties into a couple interesting platforms that we will discuss, but Loop Ring LRC, a decentralized exchange, saw the price of its native coin eviscerated recently amid a broad-based swoon in the crypto market. Nonetheless, while GameStop's partnership with Loop Ring over a bespoke NFT platform bodes well for the coin's medium-term prospects, its bullish thesis goes much deeper. You can see the chart here doesn't look super bullish to me, but let's continue on. As is evident from the chart above, Loop Ring's coin price is currently in a tailspin. Of course, the wider crypto market swoon over the past few weeks is likely to have played an important part in precipitating this price crash. Nonetheless, as Bitcoin's narrative undergoes a critical change, with its proponents now billing the world's premier cryptocurrency as a superior geopolitical hedge, look, that doesn't even, look, I know that a lot of people are probably like not understanding this shift. I'm actually surprised that it's getting called out in this right now in WCCF Tech, which is not traditionally a cryptocurrency outlet. It's very important to understand that shift in Bitcoin's narrative and crypto's narrative back to financial autonomy, back to peer-to-peer cashless system, removing governments, removing banks from the equation. I'm so happy to see that narrative shift back there and away from the, oh, it's a power-hungry thing and we need to move to proof of stake and NFTs are awesome. Like, I get it. A lot of people made a lot of money off of NFTs. That's not a problem necessarily. I think inherently they are different services. And we did the whole commodity versus equity article. We've talked about that, and it's important to make those distinctions. Ethereum, if it wants to be centralized, okay. That we can go with that if that's where it wants to go. If it wants to be basically treated, you know, closer to a stock with the VCs and the board members, etc. They can go over there and they can follow the stock market on their price increases and dumps, etc. But that is not what Bitcoin itself was created for, and a lot of other cryptocurrencies when we discuss them. So can there be both within the blockchain space? I think so. But if we are talking about how cryptocurrency solves a lot of the issues that we've been seeing in the grander geopolitical stage, then you really want to be looking at what Bitcoin does to solve that. And that puts, in my opinion, kind of things like Ethereum to the side, to the wayside, NFTs to the wayside, because there's just not as important right now, if that makes sense. So I'm impressed that they called that out here, and I just wanted to kind of go over it a little bit more, expound upon it. But with its proponents now billing the world's premier cryptocurrency as superior geopolitical hedge after it failed to serve as a viable inflationary hedge earlier this year amid soaring correlation with high beta growth stocks, there is a growing consensus that Bitcoin might be preparing for another major takeoff. After all, Bitcoin is now well off to its year-to-date lows. Moreover, as inflow soars amid the Russia-Ukraine conflict, the bullish thesis for Bitcoin and for the rest of the crypto sphere in conjunction with its growing is growing stronger. As far as Loopring's intrinsic bullish factors are concerned, a former initiation of a partnership with GameStop's NFT platform will serve as the next major bullish catalyst. As a refresher, Immutable X became an Ethereum Layer 2 partner for GameStop's NFT platform back in early February, enabling zero gas fees for trading and minting NFTs in a carbon neutral environment. So, like I said, what was that narrative, right? What was the narrative of cryptocurrencies? And that line alone sums it up for the year 2020 to 2021. That line alone is important to understand, and I think it was going astray. But zero gas fees for trading and minting NFTs in a carbon neutral environment, right? That's the key points that were being pushed over and over and over again. And as we start to see essentially everything break down in society, it's clear that that is not near as important, at least from my perspective, as the ability to transact with an individual without interferences of governments, etc. So it's kind of interesting there. And as that shifts, what we're seeing is a correlation in the charts. What we're seeing is Bitcoin outpacing Ethereum. What we're seeing is Bitcoin and privacy coins eventually here, I think, as well. Not financial advice, but Bitcoin and other, like, basically no emissions, no ICO drop, no airdrop, no VC funding coins and projects start to filter to the top. That cream's going to rise to the top and everything else will be below. And I think as long as we remain within kind of this uncertainty on the geopolitical stage, that is going to be a big point where in the charts we see kind of this superiority of these coins that enable people to transact without the interference of a third party. And yes, in the case of basically even this project, you do have basically some sort of overseeing body, some oversight within Immutable X, the way they have it functioning. Does that mean it's a bad platform? No. I mean, like I said, I think there's space within blockchain for both of these things to be treated separately and function as such. I just think that there's going to be a larger focus on Bitcoin and privacy coins here moving forward because they have a real use case and there is a real need that people have for them. And I do like seeing that shift back because what we also need to realize is that while NFTs have brought all this new money into cryptocurrency, all these new people, everybody that's new is kind of not as grounded in the principles and the fundamentals of cryptocurrency, and they don't actually understand any of this. A lot of them don't understand private keys. They're just using their crypto.com and Coinbase wallets. They may get all the way into, you know, something like MetaMask, if they're utilizing OpenSea, etc. If they make it that far, at least maybe they understand some of their private keys, but then they're utilizing platforms that are highly centralized, like, you know, OpenSea. They have a lot of vulnerabilities and attack vectors there, from scams to hacks going on, and they don't necessarily fully understand, like I said, the fundamentals. So luckily, hopefully they move into the MetaMask thing. They start understanding, oh, okay, so these are my keys. This is how this functions. What is the rest of this cryptocurrency stuff about? Why is it important, etc. And they dig deeper, they find channels like this one, and they start to understand the point behind it, right? Now, if we're talking about Immutable X, we do need to basically point out that Immutable X has one of the larger card NFT games on it. If you guys aren't familiar with it, that's Gods Unchained. So I am familiar with the platform because I do play Gods Unchained. And on top of that, they do have kind of their own separate wallet that you can move into, and even with ETH be able to mint, etc. Big problems with their platform, of course, is there's no real auction house, so doing bidding, etc. doesn't really happen there. There's not a lot of, outside of Gods Unchained, NFTs that really have a good floor price. So it's kind of sketchy from that perspective, but let's go ahead and continue on. Immutable X claims that is the first layer 2 on Ethereum that is geared towards NFTs. For the uninitiated, the layer 2 is an entire protocol that is built on top of Ethereum blockchain. The protocol interacts with the main blockchain via smart contracts, programs that automatically execute actions when certain conditions are met. Moreover, the Immutable X Mint allows users to create and distribute assets based on ERC 721 and ERC 20 protocols in a convenient and secure manner. Nonetheless, hidden within GameStop's Form 8K filing for this announcement was a crucial tidbit on Loopring's upcoming major role, Vice, the NFT platform. I actually don't know that term. I got to look that one up. As we detailed in a dedicated post, GameStop indicated on page 22 of the filing that it would integrate the layer 2 technology of Immutable X as well as Loopring into its upcoming NFT-focused platform. Readers should note that Immutable X is a protocol for an NFT marketplace. Since it is non-custodial in nature, GameStop's NFT users would presumably need a wallet to interact with the Immutable X protocol. A potential avenue of partnership might emerge if GameStop chooses to integrate Immutable X's NFT protocol with the Loopring wallet, creating a convenient and all-encompassing solution for its NFT-focused platform. Loopring has recently launched the much-anticipated Layer 2 counterfactual wallets. This is a wallet with limited features that can be deployed directly on the Layer 2, thereby evading the hefty gas fees associated with the creation of Loopring's full-fledged Layer 1 plus Layer 2 smart wallet. As an introductory product offering with limited features, counterfactual wallets offer basic security while allowing users the ability to receive Ether and other tokens on Ethereum Layer 1. This development was seen by many as a critical component for possible integration with GameStop's NFT platform. Nonetheless, until further details emerge, this particular partnership avenue will remain within the realm of educated conjecture. Loopring's fundamental structure constitutes its strongest bullish thesis. For the uninitiated, rollups are a layer 2 solution that aggregates and processes transactions outside of Ethereum's main blockchain. These processed transactions are then bundled and posted on the main chain, thereby sidestepping Ethereum's scalability problem and the associated prohibitive transaction processing fees, gas fees. Loopring uses a new type of rollup dubbed the ZK rollup, zero knowledge rollups. A zero knowledge proof makes a claim regarding the accuracy of a particular data set without actually sharing that data. This is done by generating proofs based on cryptographic computations for each batch of transactions. Since ZK rollups do not require a challenge period, As the validity proofs have already verified the legitimacy of the underlying transaction data, transactions can be processed very quickly. In fact, Loopring claims that it can process over 2,000 trades per second. This brings us to the crux of the matter. Users can mint NFTs on Loopring's Layer 2 for under $1. However, there are other solutions that allow users to mint NFTs virtually for free. So where's Loopring's decisive advantage? Right, so with Layer 2 and basically NFTs in particular, what you do have is a whole bunch of reduction of cost for the minting of NFTs. This does present a unique problem for investors, though, that you need to pay attention to, and that's the rug pull. I've been watching a lot of the Crypto Exposed YouTube channel. I highly recommend checking him out. One of the points that he makes to basically stay safe and stay away from rug pulls, especially as it pertains to NFTs, that I found interesting, was the fact that if these creators have a higher barrier to entry, say like they're minting on Layer 1 OpenSea Ethereum, they're a lot less likely to rug pull those NFTs from you. And so there is kind of this weird argument of like, we need Layer 2. We want it to function well. We want everybody to have access to this, to like, now that you've made the barrier to entry so cheap, there's more opportunity for scammers to scam people within these platforms. I just thought it was an interesting perspective that I would bring up, especially as we start talking about these kind of minting process, Layer 2, and so on. Well, readers should understand that whenever platforms give something for free, there are trade-offs involved. So, for instance, Valadium Layer 2 allows very cheap minting of NFTs but stores data off-chain. This creates a trade-off between transaction efficiency and security. Of course, off-chain data in cryptocurrency is something you want to avoid, in my humble opinion. So if I was looking at platforms, I would avoid Valadium Layer 2 purely based off of that fact. Loopring has tried to adopt a much more balanced approach to this dilemma. Minting NFTs on Loopring Layer 2 is certainly a lot cheaper than on Ethereum Layer 1. However, it is still expensive when compared with some of the other NFT-focused platforms. To counterbalance this downside, Loopring offers an almost unmatched degree of decentralization and security. That sounds good. Due to the fundamental structure of ZK rollups, in case of security breach on Loopring, users can simply move funds back to Ethereum Layer 1. This means that user funds are almost never under threat. This is a fundamental differentiating factor that we believe constitutes a major bullish impetus for Loopring. Anyways, I got to go look up that. Another word to go look up. Always here. So, why are we talking about all this? Well, obviously, it looks like we have HUD 8 working with gamers. We have GameStop working with NFTs. We're starting to see this integration happen, right? Like, people talk about the metaverse. They talk about a VR. They talk about all these different things and how it functions, Web 3.0. And really, it's the coming together of all these parts that is going to result in my humble opinion, the future. And making sure that we support the projects that are as fundamental as possible is going to help shape the future as well. So as users, as participants within the blockchain, I think it's important to try to do the research on everything that's happening and try to sway that into more decentralization if possible, right? More decentralization. We're trying to protect this world for our kids and future generations, essentially, so they don't end up in, like I said, a huge, like a centralized form of whatever this may be, right? Like, we don't want it to be Facebook's Meta controlling everything in a centralized manner where all of the transactions go through there, all of your communications go through there. That's what we want to avoid. And there are little key differences in all of these projects across the board, whether it be storing off-chain data, right? Whether it be huge VCs invested in different platforms, big board members, early initial investments that give basically a group of people at the top the ability to stay at the top. We want to avoid all these types of things so that our children and future generations have the best opportunity to live in a decentralized world where they have more and more opportunity thanks to its decentralization. This has been shown to be obviously pretty good with even just the Web 2.0 and Web 1.0, where kids these days are learning things much faster because of the decentralization of information and the ease of access to it. So those positive factors have helped society grow and accelerate as far as from an educational perspective, and we want to maintain that. And that's kind of why I talk about it and the differences. As far as the crypto Hut 8 thing goes, once again, it's just interesting to see them diversify. I'm not really sure that they have this kind of consortium of crypto GPU miners that are lobbying Ethereum necessarily. I haven't seen any updates on that. If we do get some updates, I'll let you know. Let's talk about Nvidia Rtx 40 series Ada Lovelace GPU configurations allegedly leaked out. Over 18,000 CUDA cores for the flagship AD102 GPU. You know, I really like this design with the kind of superimposing the images on top of the GPU. It's pretty cool. I hope that's a thing for real, but we'll just put a Bitcoin logo there. NVIDIA's Geforce RTX 40 GPUs based on Ada Lovelace graphics architecture have their SM configurations allegedly leak out, pointing out over 18,000 cores for flagship AD102 chip. Why would I start believing leaks like this, by the way, too? Well, NVIDIA confirmed the hack, okay? I bet we're going to see a lot of NVIDIA leaks over the next couple weeks. And maybe we'll even see that light hash rate 100% actually happen too. Recently, NVIDIA got hacked and hackers were able to steal over 1 terabyte of confidential information, which has started leaking out. Some information that has leaked out in the public already includes a bypass for the light hash rate technology. I guess maybe I need to dig deeper on that one. Source code for DLSS technology and code names of the next-gen GPU architecture. We have seen information regarding Hopper's successor, Blackwell, leak out that will feature at least 2 data center chips, but this latest leak is specific to the consumer GPU lineup on Ada Lovelace GPU architecture. According to the leak, NVIDIA will have at least 6 GPUs within its Ada Lovelace lineup. This will include the AD102, AD103, AD104, AD106, AD107, and AD10B. The first 5 SKUs will be designed for the desktop and mobility segments and featured in both the Geforce RTX 40 and RTX workstation solutions. The last part is reportedly by Copite to be specific to the next gen Tegra SoC, while the Ampere-based GA10F could go on to power the next gen Switch handheld console and Tegra drive solutions. One thing that we did see a leak of was the Switch 2. Where's that leak probably coming from? Well, remember, it's NVIDIA hardware. All right. So that would make a lot of sense right there. So coming to the leaked SKUs, the top AD102 GPU, which is likely going to power the next-gen Geforce RTX 4090, RTX 4080 Ti graphics card, will make use of 144 SMs, a 71% increase over the existing GA102 GPU, and house a massive 18,432 CUDA core count. The interesting thing here is that the AD102 GPU is the only SKU that is getting over 50% increase in SM count, and considering what we have heard about the flagship chip in terms of performance and power consumption, it looks very likely that NVIDIA is going all out with its top chip in the Ada Lovelace family. The AD103 GPU will replace the GA103 GPU, which was recently introduced on mobile and feature the same SM count as the GA102 GPU at 84. The AD104, AD106, and AD107 GPUs will feature 60, 36, and 24 SM units, respectively. Besides the AD103 GPU, which is a 40% SM increase over the GA103, every other GPU gets 20 to 25 or 25 to 20% SM count increase over its predecessor. It's not as significant as the 8102 GPU, but considering this is the mainstream segment, we are likely going to get an RTX 3080 or similar performance out of an RTX 4060 Ti and RTX 3070 or higher performance out of the standard RTX 4060. The RTX 4050 should be closer on par with an RTX 3060 given the addition of the IPC and clock improvements aside from architectural upgrades. In addition to the SM counts, the 80 Lovelace GPUs will also feature increased L2 cache sizes starting with the 8102 GPU. The flagship would be outfitted with up to 96 megabytes of L2 cache with an insane 16 times increase over the 6 megabytes of L2 cache featured on GA102. The 8103 GPU will feature 64 megabytes. 8104 will feature 48 megabytes, while both 8106 and 8107 GPUs will feature 32 megabytes of L2 cache. As for the memory bus, the flagship 8102 will feature 384-bit bus. Awesome. The 8103 will get a 256-bit bus, and 8104 will feature a 192-bit bus interface, while the lower ones will be 128-bit. So that's what we're looking at as far as the memory bus width. And then I think we also get the faster memory. I don't know if it will be the faster GDDR6 or the faster GDDR6X or something completely different. With these memory bus widths, it's possible that we do get some pretty nice performance from mining, but to compensate for that increase in power consumption that we've talked about that we're worried about could make them, not great, right? So you have the PCI Gen 5 connector. Most of the power supplies are only coming with one of them. So you have a single connector that's at 600 watts. Potentially at the top end, it'll take basically 800 to 900 watts with 2 power requirements on them. That's going to make it pretty difficult for miners to go ahead and deploy, but we'll just have to see once we get there. Memory capacity, so GDDR6 memory type on that that's the 2-ring. So GDDR6X, they don't have announced speeds. I assume it would be the faster speed, and then it's saying 24 gigabytes. If it's really just going to be 24 gigabytes on a 384-bit bus of GDDR6 clocked at 21 gigabits per second, it's not going to be that good. Probably even stick with the 3090. However, if they do upgrade even further on the memory speeds, etc., it could be pretty fun to at least test out. So that's the full leaks there for the Ada Lovelace. Do I think they're accurate? Yes, at this point with that big hack that went through all the information that leaked out, I think it's pretty accurate. And I do think that the Switch 2, just to follow back up on that, is getting released, and we have, the specifications for that from Nvidia hardware-wise. So let's go ahead and talk about mining profitability for the day. Once again, we're still on Crazy Pool, and as far as daily, we did get a payout yesterday for that 0.1 ETH. We calculated out, it was like 0.7 on average. So at this point, we are at an unpaid of 0.087 on the balance for the pool. So we'll probably hit another payout here today. It'll be a little over 24 hours before we get that 0.1 total. But if we calculate that out, since it's always at the same time for the show every day, we can do that. Let's see. So it would be let's go to payouts. We'll just do 0.38. 388 divided by 4. So if we looked at it today, average over the past 4 days is 0.097 ETH a day, which is, you know, we're back up. And that's actually up even more because I did have an RTX 3090. 3090s have been down since early in the morning. They're back up now. We'll talk about that in a bit. I am mining Ravencoin right now. It's not great. It's about 1.3 Varus a day. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rigs on there. This is a 4770 on the CPU for the 1660 mix. This is a 3600 XT. This is a 5800X. This is a Threadripper 1950X, which performs very well, by the way. And then we also have an 8700K here. That's, you know, totaling out to whatever this hash rate is. Let's see. 70, about 80 mega hash a second. 1 versus 1.3 versus, you know, it's about $1 a day. It is what it is. I'm on it because everybody else is. Look, here's the deal. I'm either going to hedge mine something that I think is like cool, or I'm going to jump on the bandwagon with everybody else every single time on the CPU side and just get slaughtered. I did it with Raptorium, got slaughtered. You know, what do we do? Do we do that with every single coin that comes out and then just get slaughtered? Or do I just stick to the Varus coin that I've been doing for a while and kind of just stack up some stuff? You know, it's not financial advice. I don't really play around with the CPU mining. I could be going for like Monero Ocean. That would be another option. This is just kind of where I'm at right now. So nothing really too big there. As far as the Bitcoin mining going, we're still getting the same amount of Bitcoin, the 0.0004 per day. And that is averaging at 96 terahash a second. This is going to be the CoinMiner C16 Pro. You can purchase it via the affiliate link down below for BT miners. So definitely check that out if you're interested. The 24-hour average has been sticking between 95 and 97 terahash a second at the pool, which is fantastic. Basically, it's getting hotter here. We haven't had any issues. Review should be out. I'm hoping tomorrow. Today we should have the A2000 view out. As far as the farm goes, I still have quite a few GPUs offline. We're only sitting at 112 GPUs currently online. And then let's take a look at mining profitability on the RTX 3090. Still not over $4 a day. That's what I'm waiting on, the $4 a day on Ethereum. That's really what I'm looking for. We also have Octopus here at $2.61 a day. It's really been doing a strong showing for, you know, GPUs that can support it. Basically need to have like 8 gigabytes of VRAM. It's been, you know, surprisingly performing really well. We have Ycash and Cero in there. And then Ethereum Classic's been performing really, really well for mining. So that's a like light at the end of the tunnel for the miners, the GPU miners. Unfortunately, like some that we would hope would be performing better, you know, the Ergo, $2.08 a day after power. Ravencoin, really wish it was performing better at $1.80 a day after power. Flux, $1.87 a day after power. A lot of these I just wish were performing a little bit better. But it's not all a loss. It's just a little surprising to see the results that we're seeing. The Conflux, the Ethereum Classic. It's not what I was expecting, essentially. So on the 2080 Ti, which usually does really good on Flux, we have Ethereum at $1.82 a day. Flux, obviously, $1.61 a day. It looks like the mining on NiceHash has calmed down, has stopped, and come back in line with mining it directly. So not really a surprise there. We knew that would happen soon. We do have, of course, the node requirements already being reduced and coming into play here shortly, if it already hasn't. I forgot to Google that this morning to make sure. But our RX 580s from AMD, Polaris GPUs, the good old Polaris, 93 cents a day. Firo Proof of Work at 45 cents a day. Ethereum Classic at 48 cents a day after power. And Ravencoin, 32 cents a day after power. Let's take a look at mining pool statistics, see if there's any significant changes in network hash rate. We're still sitting right around the same on Bitcoin after its drop. And it's about 200 exahash a second. Let's take a look at Ethereum. Still at one, well, you know, I guess it's up. It's back to its standard. I think it went back yesterday, if I recall. We're at 1 petahash a second. Let's look at Ravencoin, which was having some of those struggles for us recently. And let me get rid of Rocket Chat here. Quit. Quit. There we go. Get that out. 3.64 terahash a second. It keeps going down. I think it was yesterday at 3.8 terahash a second. They have to see where this settles in at. Luckily, the difficulty's coming down with it, but there's not a lot of miner confidence in Ravencoin right now is what I'm seeing. We're just slowly seeing people come off of the Ravencoin network. Now, Flux, which we looked at earlier, and you know, I'm saying I don't think there's a lot of solo mining going on right now. It's starting to dip down. Not as much. Here's kind of some the spikes earlier this week when we were talking about them last week, and then now it's settled in. It's right at that 2 mega solutions. It's second. I think at its peak, you know, we were looking closer to 2.75 to 3 mega solutions a second. It's not dipping any further on its like consistent hash rate, but we are seeing essentially the reduction and the stopping of the solo mining from NiceHash on it, at least for today. So take that for what you will. Let's look at Ergo. Boom, 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 boom. 14.78 terahash a day, still sitting right around the same. 3 pools still offline. A little disappointing there. We had that dip off that we talked about already last week. Not surprising. All right. So what was the one that I really want to look at today? Oh, Ethereum Classic. Because Ethereum Classic's profitability is kind of going up. Are we seeing a corresponding increase in hash rate? No, we are not. So this may be one you could take a look at least for those 4 gigabyte cards. 25 terahash a second, something like that. Boom, boom, bang. Call it a day. Oh. Let's take a look at Crazy Pool. Not Crazy Pool. Pool profitability. Last 90 days, Crazy Pool in first, Flex Pool in second, Mining Pool Hub in third. Last 60 days, Flex Pool in first, Mining Pool Hub in second, Crazy Pool in third. Last 30 days, Flex Pool in first, Mining Pool Hub in second, Ether Mine in third, Crazy Pool getting knocked into 4th spot out of the top 3. Last 21 days, Mining Pool Hub in first, Flex Pool in second, Ether Mine in third. Last 14 days, Mining Pool Hub in first, Crazy Pool in second, Flex Pool in third. Last 7 days, Mining Pool Hub in first, Crazy Pool in second, Ether Mine in third. Last 3 days, Nano Pool in first, Flex Pool in second, Ether Mine in third. For the last day, Crazy Pool in first, Mining Pool Hub in second, and Flex Pool in third. Oh, CPPC Tech. We've talked about this before. We do increase the Flux hash rate because that's not common. 115 mega hash a second on the 3090 is very common. Very, very, very common. In fact, if anything, you typically going below that due to the cooling, unless you are actually liquid cooling, which is cost prohibitive. Your number of 125 mega hash at 290 watts while making over $5 a day is unrealistic. And ASICs. Let's go ahead and talk about ASICs. Gold Shell KD6 at 26.3 terahash a second, still sitting in first at $115 a day. KD5 78.17 US dollars a day. Antminer L7 27.58 US dollars a day. KD2 25.86 a day. Nothing great. Let's go down to the S19 Pro. 16.15 a day on Digibyte. If you're doing SHA-256 on rig rentals, 15.34 a day. Right now, that doesn't seem right. because I do know for a fact that the 98 terahash model miner that we're doing on Bitcoin is over $18 a day right now. And that's just mining Bitcoin. So it seems a little bit off to me. There are sales going on, by the way, on BT miners. They dropped the price of the S19 Pro down to 10,500. So $500 off. So that's really what you're looking at as far as the, pricing is coming down on ASICs. They're coming down on ASICs as well as GPUs right now. GPU availability is coming on to Amazon. We're seeing, I think yesterday I saw a couple 1660 Supers actually under $400 for the first time in quite a while. If you drive out to Micro Center, A2000s are in stock for $650 a piece, which is crazy. Stock is coming back into place. This month is supposed to be that month that, of course, Gray Moon was talking about more availability. We're supposed to have more production since Q2 of 2018. And I think that's pretty awesome. Let's get into it. So we'll go over questions and answers for today. Like always, make sure, I was going to sit down and I was like, oh yeah, we don't have the movable camera anymore. Make sure that, okay. So as always, super chats never required, always appreciated, easiest to read because it highlights the whole message. If you want to ask me a question specifically, you can do @SonOfATech. That highlights the message orange and then I can read it. I appreciate the like button is the best thing you can do for me today. And let's hop into it. All right. Detroit Irish says, isn't there a talent agency you can use that pre-vet sponsors, etc.? A lot of times what you end up dealing with those, at least the issues I've had is there's the Market Watch, etc. They like to take huge cuts. So they'll tell you we'll pay you $80 an ad, and then they charge, whoever is getting the sponsorship $175 or $200. So they take well over 50% in a lot of cases. Let me go ahead and get this. It looks like the camera either overheated or something along those lines. Everything's hot in here today. Hot heat. There we go. Boom. All right. It's all good, says @SonOfATech. Back in the day with your biz, had a point of sale terminal. You followed the merchant rule. You only refund the transaction via the method of payment, i.e. credit card chargebacks back to the card. Yep, that's the way you have to do it. They request other, don't do it. Simon H says, @SonOfATech, afternoon from the UK. Awesome. Welcome to the channel. It's all good, says @SonOfATech. As miners, do we really care about the 40 power connectors? Or are we using server power supplies? I mean, you could combine 2 regular 6 pins from the board to the new connector. Yeah, you can. And that will be what's done. Because you'll have the little adapters, hopefully, right? But you're talking about an increase in power consumption, which is the big deal, right? So a regular HP 1100 or 1200 watt power supply at the top end of a 4090 Ti is going to be okay, you power 1 card. You're getting to the point of ASICs at that point, right? You're literally getting to the point of ASICs at that point from a power requirement standpoint. Trading Nichols says, @SonOfATech, I hear you about Ravencoin underperforming, but your 3060 on Raven and ETH dual mining is making way more than if it was just ETH alone. Well, I mean, that's how dual mining works. So yeah, I don't know why you would choose those two together. I would worry about heat and degradation because I've had a lot of degradation issues on just Raven alone, but let me know how it goes for you in the future. Scott Wilson says, @SonOfATech, if someone is starting to expand 3 GPUs save money, go ASIC, or buy more GPU cards? It's really going to be up to you and your personal situation. Like if you start getting into ASICs, what you start getting into really is a lot more data center kind of driven infrastructure. Primarily like figuring out power. Those are going to, like, power is going to be your focus. Management, that sort of thing. Airflow. It's getting a little crazy there. Yes, you could do like a couple home miners, but for the most part, like the power requirements on a like home ASIC miner is ridiculous. If you try to get an ASIC miner that's going to make anything that's profitable, from my perspective, unless of course you get like a KD box, I suppose, which is just a little cost prohibitive. If you're just like, I still am a proponent of like the home mining being the GPU mining thing, getting your feet wet there, and just getting that process, that miner discipline of reinvesting your profits into, your farm, and just continue that way. T-Gig says, Ask Tech, thoughts on getting paid in WETH on Polygon network? For the most part, it works just fine. I wouldn't leave your ETH like on the Polygon network. That's the only thing I would be worried about. But if you're like worried about sending it directly to like Coinbase or crypto.com, for the most part, the same ETH address has like supports Polygon, supports Binance Smart Chain. And so if you send it directly to, from the mining pool to there, it's going to just basically act like it's Ethereum, and you can swap it out for whatever you want from there and then shoot it over to a hardware wallet. So it works pretty good. Quincy Jackson says, Ask Tech, I have a light hash rate, you have a full hash rate 3080 that you tried changing the thermal pads on and it's bad. Can't get it to hash right again. Send it to me to fix. I don't do GPU repairs. It's too time consuming. I already have my own farm I'm behind on. So it's really not something that's worth it to me. Daniel Ring says, Ask Tech, get a bar stool so you can sit. Yeah, I know. It is what it is. Gallo says, Ask Tech, have you checked 2Mars pool for Flux? They are charging 0% fees on parallel assets, and other pools charge over 20%. No, I haven't checked that out. Thanks for the mention. Killyfish says, Ask Tech, you said that the 3090 does 115 hash a second. Do you know what the 3080 Ti does? Full hash rate is supposed to be the same. It'll be 115 megahash a second. It has the same memory bandwidth. Right now, with the unlocks, it's around 85 megahash a second. Vince Russo says, Ask Tech, what are those awards on your wall to the right? That's for BJJ, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And I haven't got a gold yet. There's 2 silvers and a bronze. My next competition's on the 16th of April. I'm hoping to get a gold. Mark Gardner says, Ask Tech, new small miner here from UK. Think Flux is a good starter to look at now. Have 420 series on a rig. 20 series does function really well on Flux. That being said, like if you're looking for pure profit, it's still typically just going to be Ethereum. So it's up to you. Vince Russo says, Ask Tech, have you noticed any discernible profit luck difference if your rigs are hardwired Ethernet to a switch or on Wi-Fi? Yeah, you are going to have, like, hardwired's pretty much always going to be better. You're going to have a better consistent connection, just in general. That being said, okay, great example. My previous internet setup was a hotspot. So to get the hotspot to connect, I would have to get basically those Wi-Fi extenders that have an Ethernet plug in them to plug into my switches. You can look at my mining farm tour for that, but basically plug those into the switches, and then essentially those would have a Wi-Fi connection over to the hotspot. But we also had the hotspot part problem in there too. Just to give you an idea though, stale shares on that 1.7%, somewhere at the highest. Right now we're at we're hardwired, we're through like a business line, we're at like 0.3% to 0.5% on the stale shares. So there's definitely a difference. Per rig situation, I don't know exactly. That would have to be vetted out and tested. And then, of course, the problem with testing all that is that there's too many variables, especially when we're talking about networking, right? $3080 Ti on Flux. Should be 115 solutions a second as well. Pretty easy. 110 solutions a second. We just did it not too long ago. Ba 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 ba. Alrighty. Is that going to wrap it up for questions today, guys? I think we covered everything that I wanted to. Not huge topics. Obviously, pretty low numbers for the day, so I guess we didn't have any crazy topics that you guys wanted to cover. Let me know. Always, you can shoot topics over on Rocket Chat if you want. Within the video ideas section, we'll be posting the review for the RTX A2000 today, and then hopefully the Koi miner tomorrow. Today is work day, meaning it's Wednesday. So I will be essentially in here at the desk working all day. So if you want to send over any messages, you can. Maybe I get to them, maybe I don't. That's where we're at. We have a lot of editing to do. So look forward to that video today. I'm pretty happy with the A2000s. I don't like the A4000s. In case you were wondering, I wouldn't buy A4000s, but I definitely would buy A2000s. Should you buy, says Asan Attack Lapsus asks for 1 million USD for the light the light hash rate unlock. That's an interesting price because that seems worth it for someone like HUD8, right? But it's also like if Ethereum is moving proof of stake, they've figured out where they're headed. Thanks for watching, guys. Likes, comments, subscriptions down below. Please hit the like. We're at 93 likes. Hitting over to 100 likes would be awesome and amazing. I will see you guys next Tuesday.